This might have been my least favorite episode of Bravo I've ever seen in my life.
This is probably going to be my least favorite episode that we've ever had to cover while doing our podcast.
I agree. I don't understand. You know what? I'll save it for the pod. Bros and shows, bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows. Bros and shows, bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bros and Shows. I'm your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only Shooter Magooter. What's up, dude?
I hate this show. I hate it so much. It's funny too because obviously Steele and I are enamored with Love Island, and we are now making sure that we're staying on track with that because that is a tall order. I tried to get ahead of the game here, knowing that we were going to do the Valley today. I watched the first 20 minutes, 15 minutes, I don't know, of the Valley yesterday, and I told you as a bit that as soon as Jax got out of rehab, and I know they released the first 7 minutes because that's what we do now for whatever reason.
We watch half the show before.
Just going to skip through it and say, I'm not giving this person my attention. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just going to talk about how bad of a person he is and move on with my life. I got to that dinner scene where they all go after Danny, and I actually just turned it off. And if we were not covering this, if this was a show and we were just watching random TV shows, because we do enjoy most of these shows, if I was watching it and I got to that point, I probably would have turned off my TV and never gone back to the Valley. It's gotten that bad.
It's just stupid. Stupid. I don't understand why Bravo is continuing to give this guy such a platform. I don't understand what their angle and approach is or how they thought that we would receive it. But even on his Watch What Happens Live appearance, Bravo got so much shit for getting him on live TV. Mm-hmm. Nobody was up for it. The call-ins and things like that, it was like problematic. And understandably so. I don't get what their angle is. I understand that Bravo is not going to shy away from shock value. If they get some cheap viewers because of something like this, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we have entered into a phase with this and the Jax stuff where most people don't want to see this shit. And on the flip side, you have somebody in Danny who they're trying to paint as this horrible person. It's the most ridiculous juxtaposition I've ever seen, and I'm gonna just do this right now. I'm gonna get it out of the way so we can just go into the show and like rush through this one because fuck this show. But Alex Baskin, Jeremiah, who are producing this show, who are in charge of this show, have no idea how to read a room. They do not know what the viewers want. I saw this bullshit article where Alex Baskin was interviewed. He's like, it is dark, but this is real life. This is what we got to show. We got to show the reality of it. It's like, no, what you guys have done is try to set up this bullshit redemption arc for Jax Taylor as though we can't see through what's going on. And at the same time, you have pointed us towards Danny being a piece of shit, but we're watching what Jax is doing in real time. It makes absolutely no sense to me, and it shows how lost these producers are. We've watched so many good shows get taken down by bad editing, bad producing, and this is probably the best example of it. They do not know what the viewers want, and instead of reading the room, like I said, and understanding, hey, we're kind of sick of watching Jax abuse his wife and then be a piece of shit and take no accountability. But they're still trying to show it as though there's supposed to be some kind of sympathy for Jax Taylor. There is no sympathy. No one cares. He's a piece of shit. Listen to the comments. Listen to all the venues that canceled his podcast tour. This guy is a piece of shit. We don't want to see you try to paint him in any other way. At the same time, we don't want to see him, period. Get him off the show. Fuck this guy. Fuck Alex Baskin. Fuck Jermaine Jeremiah, that dickhead. I'm so flustered at the people in charge. Not just Jax, like the people in charge of this show ruined this show.
Yeah, they really ruined the show, and it was a promising show. It was a show that had a lot of people that we like, and even from episode 1, season 1, we had a feeling that at some point Jax's head is going to get too big for this. This is his show. He's going to claim it. He claimed it in this episode. that's not the reason why we tuned in. We didn't tune in for that. It got good last year. It got to a point where we didn't know enough of these other people. And then we found ourselves rooting for different people. We were invested in different people. You're taking away the people that we were invested in. We looked at Nia and Danny and we said, you guys are too nice. You might want to get off this show. They're going to ruin your fucking marriage the way that these shows have been going. Bravo shows have been going down the drain because they're allowing things to happen. We tune into shows like this. We tune into housewife shows because we want to watch rich people who don't really have all of their screws tightened up in their brain go after each other in a fun way. Once it got to the point where we're taking down marriages and we're taking down people who really didn't do anything wrong, we said in housewife shows, let's fucking stop this. We got to get away from this. It's ruining the shows. It's ruining the allure of what was once a great franchise. I didn't think it could get better. I really didn't think it could get a lot worse than that. And it did. It got so much worse with the Valley. And first point, anybody's name who starts with a J can go fuck themselves.
Yeah, they all
Jax,
suck.
Jermaine, Janet, Jason, all of you. You're losers. Move on with your lives. We never want to see you again. Andy now, and I usually try to back Andy up because he seems to know what's going on. He seems to have a good idea of what the pulse of what we're thinking is. He went a couple of weeks ago and called this the darkest show of reality TV. He has now changed his tune. He had Jax on Watch What Happens Live. He even said the realest show on reality TV. No, 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 no. This is not real. I don't care how you want to paint it. They're going after somebody when you've got Jax sitting right there who really has admitted his wrongs, apologized, and moved on with the people that were affected by that.
Danny
You're
has.
allowing other people in the group to make their storyline all about something that has nothing to do with them. And now they're standing up on their soapbox saying, you're so much worse than the rest of us. I don't know what the hell's going on here when you've got Jax sitting right there.
Literally.
I don't know what this show has turned into, a fucking circus. And it's not a circus that I want to watch. It's a sad circus where we're like, hey, let's release these animals back to the wild and get them back home because I don't like watching this. That's what we need here. This is a circus in which we need to release these animals back to the wild. And you move on. You take Dodie and Luke. You take Danny and Nia. You take Jasmine. You take Zach, who's a fucking star. And you go put them over here. Keep the VPR fucking parasites away from this show.
Yeah.
Go create a show with them because we love them and find other people. It's LA. Everybody wants their shot at stardom. Don't taint the water. Get these losers out of here. We don't want them on our TV screens anymore. I just can't deal with it anymore. It's not fun. It's not entertaining. It's not something that I would ever want to sit down and be like, oh boy, I'm so excited to watch The Valley.
I groan when I have to watch
it's worse
it.
than a hate watch.
Yeah.
We went through, we've now talked about Beverly Hills, that terrible season, which we always said we would never talk about again. We use that as our barometer of a bad show. And it's a show that goes on too long. Beverly Hills 2-3 seasons ago, whatever it was awful. And it turned into a boring hate watch. OC turned into a bad hate watch because we hated Tamara and what she was doing. But we still watched it.
Ago.
That was 2 years ago. And we still watched it and we had to hate watch it. But even that, there was a semblance of like us kind of having fun with it because we would complain about it, but like in a jokey way because
like
our fans,
tongue-in-cheek kind of shit.
Our fans wanted to torture us, but like it was funny. And, we'll always have that. This isn't that. This is not a hate watch. This is I cannot believe this is still on TV watch.
This should not be on TV watch. Let's jump in or we're just going to keep venting for too long. Obviously, Jax is getting out. And the minute that he starts talking, I knew what was up. I wish I could have fast forwarded. I didn't because I have to take the notes.
I did when I went back and watched it, I did actually watch it. But yesterday when I started watching it, I fast forwarded through the whole thing.
It's just like, as somebody in recovery, watching this episode in particular really, really rubbed me the wrong way. It really pissed me off. And it does so honestly, much damage. It does. And it belittles what people like myself have gone through to get to this point in our lives. And you have this guy, and I know what they're doing. And this is where Alex Baskin and Jeremiah can fuck right off because of how they're trying to paint it and what they're allowing him to say in the screen time. Because he's like, I can't believe I did 30 days in there. It's like, you didn't do 30 days. We know you didn't do 30 days. So shut the fuck up there. And then he keeps calling it rehab. It's not a rehab. That's not where you went. So you don't get to say that I went through rehab. You went to a mental health facility that allowed you to leave whenever you wanted. So stop trying to, it's stolen valor, which I never thought I would fucking say. but you're trying to wear the badge of rehab and you've never fucking done it. And he has the same exact energy in this car as he did before he went in.
Yeah.
So I'm supposed to sit here and think that this man's changed when he once again, like one of the fundamental things about recovery is admitting that you have a problem and it is your job to fix that problem. And you brought this shit upon yourself. He goes, no one ever held me accountable. I'm like, you're still placing blame. You're out of rehab, quote unquote, for 30 seconds and you're still placing blame. And then Jesse says something that's true. Hey, the whole friend group, they're still hurting because they have to get over the emotional damage that you put them through, namely your wife and child. And he goes, no one's hurting. They're partying and no one visited me. My wife of 10 years didn't. Why, Jax? Why? Why did nobody visit you? Because you are a big piece of shit. That's why no one visited. Your whole goal of going in here was to be less of a piece of shit. And in the first car ride out of rehab, you've proven you are still a steaming pile of shit. So fuck you.
Yeah. And honestly, for the rest of this beginning scene, I say we just kind of like sum it up in a couple of sentences because fuck this dude.
Yeah.
Even on Watch What Happens Live, he said that his worst mistake was not ending the marriage sooner. And I don't care what you say after that, because I know that I'm not going to lie. I turned the clip off immediately. I didn't watch What Happens Live. I'm not giving him any more airtime.
No.
But he did say that, and I know what follows that up with, for Brittany's sake. It's like, it's not for Brittany's sake. It's because you're a huge piece of shit and you're selfish. You just wanted to end the marriage earlier so that you could carry on with doing all of the things that you wanted to do, which you were probably still doing anyway. Not even going to get into any of that bullshit. But him going in and seeing all of his shit just packed up in trash bags and points to himself and he goes, me, trash. It's like, yeah, you are trash. Like, yes, you are. And I don't care. That's not petty. That is, Brittany wants you out in a very quick manner. And she's not going to put things in boxes all nice and neatly. She's going to throw it in fucking trash bags. And this isn't one of those situations where
she would have put it in boxes, by the way. Her friends threw it in trash bags, which I'm glad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like, I think the fact that she would have put it in boxes speaks more volumes to what this is. Like, they always say, it's like an old adage, if you come home and your girlfriend's mad at you and she's got all your shit just spewed across the lawn or in trash bags, there's a chance that you can get back because she just did that out of anger. If it's neatly folded up and put into boxes, you're fucked. That's what Brittany wanted to do. Brittany needs to move on with her life, and I think she realizes that, thankfully, and that's why this episode was called "What You Got Served" or whatever. Which, you know, whatever. Good call.
How dare you disparage that movie?
What a great movie! God, I would love. Let's just review that movie. Hey, big turn, actually. Welcome back to another episode of Bros and Shows. We're going to talk about You Got Served,
the early 2000s classic dance movie.
We're also going to review, as part of this, the South Park episode, You Got Served, because that was a fucking great one.
That was a great one, too. But just listening to him talk again, like, you know, the house needs to go on the market ASAP. What the fuck does this mean? No woman needs a 5-bedroom. Get a 3-bedroom. That's manageable as a woman. What the fuck, bro? Like, now you're adding, I mean, you've always been a misogynist, but now, like, fresh out of rehab, you're gonna, like, you clearly have learned nothing. He did. He went and got worse.
You know why he got worse? Because, and we know that he was able to leave the rehab to go take the Post-its off of all the cameras, to go get more shoes and more clothes or whatever the fuck he was doing. He stayed there and didn't show his face to everybody else so that he could use that as, I was there for 30 days. I wasn't allowed around any of you guys because I wanted to work on myself.
Yep.
He could have easily popped up whenever the fuck he wanted, apparently, and went to go see somebody. He could have showed up when Brittany was there with Cruz, just walking around the house, and he could have seen his son. That would have been fucking awful. He could have done all of those things. He didn't do it because it's self-serving. He can now say, I spent 30 days in there. So I don't give a shit. You're talking about the house that you stopped paying. You don't get a say in that. You're not with Brittany anymore. She's filing for divorce.
By the way, she's managed this house for 30 days whilst you've been in rehab, and she's
paying $11,000 more a month than what she should be paying because you're an asshole and didn't pay your taxes.
Pay taxes. So you can't manage this house.
You don't get a say in any of this.
It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. He's claiming that he paid the whole mortgage. I don't believe that. When Julian came into the pictures, when I stopped paying the bills, all right, well, then you're an insecure, tiny little penis man
Yeah.
If that's going to get you to stop paying for your wife and kid, that's crazy talk. None of this is helping him. And then Jesse says, I'm having a party. It's at my house, at least. It's a Zach party for Benji, who's finally making his debut. And Jack's like, well, I'm going. It's like, you're not invited.
Do you know what fucking sucks too about this show? And I'm just going to point these things out whenever I think of them. We have Jesse hosting a party for Zach and Zach's boyfriend. When the fuck did they become friends? We didn't see that. We saw in the beginning that Zach was standing up for Michelle and calling Jesse all of these names, calling him a narcissist. Now they're friends and he's hosting a party for his boyfriend to come in and finally move in with them. They're cool. We saw this last week. We see them at a cornhole thing and they're fine. When did that happen? No, we're not going to see that. Okay, we just need to go focus more on Jax. Like, no one gives a shit. I care so much more about the Zax of the world. Yeah, Jesse seems like a pretty big fucking asshole, but I do care about him more than I care about Jax. He's a good person on this show. Dodie and Luke, we barely see them anymore. They're trying to get pregnant. She just gave birth at this point now where we are currently, but they're going through all of this. We've got the engagement coming up. There's so much more interesting storylines when it comes to this show, but no, we're going to focus on this bullshit. Like, it just pisses me off.
I agree. But Zach is headed to the airport to pick up Benji, and he's on the phone with Jasmine and finds out that Jax invited himself to the party because Jesse told him about it. And he even is like, you know what? I guess we got to give him some space to show us. Okay, fine. I'm sure that's going to work out well. But then we check in with Aaron and Michelle. And I think I have another that didn't happen moment because they're playing outside in the grass.
I don't know.
And she's like, Isabella said, you know, why don't we move in here? But she was referring to the grass. It's like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to, like,
I want to believe her. Again, like, I think we said this last week. I don't dislike Michelle by any stretch.
She's not my favorite, but I don't dislike her. And I also feel for her. She's going through a lot.
She is going through a lot. Like I don't know if her mom is currently alive at this point. I think she may have shared. I'm not positive. I don't even want to speak on it. But like anything that comes down to Jesse and Michelle and Isabella, it's so messy and both of them lie so often that I don't know ever unless, and I was trying to figure it out. The only time that we get some little nuggets of truth is when they're talking to each other because they'll spill something and you can tell the way that the other person reacts. It's like, okay, that part's true. And when she goes into talking about how she broached the subject with Jesse about having Isabella come hang out like with her mom, she's probably got a couple of weeks. Like, we just want to like have her hang out and like spend some time with her before she moves on. It's like, okay, that's a nice thing. But Jesse turned that down immediately. It's like, I don't know if that's true. I just,
when she said
we talk about it later, and I'm like,
no,
I don't
man.
think so. Like there's got to be more here. I refuse to believe that anybody is that. Like Jax would do that. So that's, you know, I'm already
Jax
wrong.
would be that ice cold. But I was like, there's got to be more to this story. I don't think he just flat out denied.
And there is.
There is.
I just never know with them because they're always lying. They both lie so much. I can't tell.
It's hard to see through it, but we get to, I guess.
Oh wait, hold on.
Oh,
did you watch Aaron's throwing motion?
I did.
That made me feel better about not. Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah,
stick to honey.
On there.
Stick to honey.
Did you see his doormat?
Yeah, it's a bee. Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be?
Oh fuck! I can't remember what it said. It said something on it like where the honey home or something. It was something weird. I don't fucking know. But
honey hole.
Oh, ew. God.
That's not what that means, you fucking
ew.
Oh my God. Let's get to Jax's welcome home party at the bar. Hell yeah, let's do that. That's super fun. You know what else is fun? The minute that Jason and Danny get there, Jason lets him know, hey, we're not good. Sick, bro. Awesome.
He's such a fucking loser.
You know, because
we've given him a pass in saying that he was manipulated by his wife. No, he's just as bad. He might be worse than Janet. He's just as bad, if not worse. He's a dork.
Yeah, he's such a dweeb, dude. He's like, you know, he's coming after my wife, and he sent me like a half-assed apology text, and like I just wrote down on my notes, this guy's so fucking boring.
By the way, the apology text, that wasn't a apology, so you can call it half-assed if you want to. Danny's standing on business. He's
Yes,
saying
that's what I thought.
we shouldn't have had that discussion then and there.
Right.
That's what he said. He's apologizing for the time and place of that discussion, not apologizing for getting drunk and saying too much. We've all been there. I've been there.
Sure.
I get drunk and I say shit that I shouldn't in that time and place, but I still feel that way. Danny said that same thing. Yeah, I shouldn't have said it there and then, but I do still feel that way. It's not a half-assed apology. He still feels that way about your dumbass wife. Like, sorry.
Correct. But Jax arrives and lets everybody know, like, I'm still going to drink. The amount of times he talked about alcohol this episode just shows me that none of this actually stuck. That's where my brain's at right now. Because anybody that gets fresh out of actual rehab, no matter what the substance is, like, you're not going back to a substance out of the gate. That's fucking nuts. So for him to say that, I'm like, all right, none of this actually worked. And Jason questions it a little bit. And he's like, look, I'm not going to drink today, but I am going to drink. And Jason drops it. How do you have that much smoke for Danny? But a guy that's fresh out of rehab, you're not going to double down and say, I don't know, dude, that seems like a bad idea. But you're going to have all this shit for Danny.
His wife was calling and texting you frantically to get him out of the house because it was getting bad again. And you show up to coddle him and bring him to rehab. And now you're coddling him once again. Again, you still, and this is where it doesn't make any fucking sense too, because Jax goes off and he starts talking about Brits, which we knew was going to be an issue. He gave him ammunition. He's going to start talking about it as soon as he gets out of rehab. He goes after Danny and says it's bullshit. Fucking Jason and Janet were there too. Where's the smoke? None of this makes any sense.
And who's that fucking wiener that brought it up?
It's his partner.
That guy, he's like, oh, yeah, we're really going to do that the day out, like before he gets out. It's like, who are you?
Guys getting out of rehab and you guys are going to do that? You're really going to poke the bear? It's like,
shut the fuck up,
dude.
Here's the thing. All right. And this is what bothered me so much. It was like, I wanted to rip my hair out. It's like all of these things that happen in the aftermath of him getting out, him getting served divorce papers, finding out about the bar, your shit in trash bags. A lot of people have this notion of rehab that you go in for 30 days and everything's fixed and you come out and life is different. Life is great. No. You get out and then you have to face all of the shit
hard work begins.
Did. Correct. Yeah. Rehab step 1. You have to clean up your mess when you leave. That's all part of this journey to get to where you want to be. Yep. When I got out of rehab, I moved back in with my parents at 28 years old, going through a divorce with no job, having lost my career in baseball and had to start from zero. And I had to acknowledge that I got there because of my own doing. And I had to have hard conversations with people and all these different things. You don't get out of rehab and everything's like awesome. It's actually really fucking hard. So for him to bitch and moan, and then have his buddy or whoever the fuck that guy was be like, you guys really going to do that? It's like, yeah, because that's the ramifications of his actions. Because of the way that you were and the way that you still are, there are consequences for the things that you have done and the things that you have to clean up, because that's your job if you want to get better. But if you want to keep playing the blame game and pointing fingers everywhere else, it just further proves that 1, you didn't actually go to rehab, and 2, you didn't put any work in. So all these people trying to defend it, Jesse, fucking Jason, this random douchebag at the table. Shut up. Shut the
Not
fuck
only
up.
that, and it's like, it's one thing to give a guy a pass when he's behaving like that. It's another thing to then weaponize that. And that's what you're doing in this conversation when it comes to Danny. And this was my final straw, because if I didn't have this job, I'd be done with this show right in this moment. Using Jax as a weapon to go after Danny for Danny's drinking is the most obscene thing that I've ever seen on a TV show.
I agree.
It was the worst moment of any show that we've ever covered. It's the worst moment of any show that I've ever watched in my life. It was so fucking deplorable. Like, they're all snakes. They're all absolute losers. And if I'm Danny, I would never put myself in a room with any of those people ever again. And he's way nicer than I am. And he can do it because he can sit down with his support person in Nia and discuss it. And they can get to a point where, all right, you know what? Let's just take a beat. We'll just try to get around it. Not me. I'm coming for fucking necks in that moment. Are you kidding me?
Dude.
Like, that would be unbelievable. And anybody sitting there is complicit to this. Everybody sitting at the table is complicit. You're really going to sit there and just let them go after Danny for his drinking and using Jax as the weapon, as the tool for how you're going to go about this, it's ludicrous.
Yeah, Jason in his like confession is like, Danny needs rehab, and you don't even know what you're apologizing for. You were blacked out. No, he wasn't. He was a little tipsy. Like he
got pissed off because your wife sucks and you suck. Like,
and she's a snake. All he did was like tell the truth. And for like you said, to compare him to Jax is fucking banana land, dude. And then for Jax, like for him to get out of this treatment center, wherever the fuck he was, this vacation that he went on, and now he is the utmost expert on sobriety and recovery. He's like, you do have a problem, Danny. I was like, Jax, you don't even like acknowledge your problems yet. Shut the fuck up. You can't get out of here.
Jax is saying that he doesn't have a drinking or substance problem. He's got an anger problem. So like you're already wrong. So you're going to come for somebody's drinking. But if we're going to take your own words, you don't have a drinking problem. So you shouldn't be talking on this. You don't know where you're coming from. You have an anger problem. If somebody shows too much anger, by all means, go have a conversation with them and talk about your anger problems. But you don't have a drinking problem, Jax. What are you talking about?
Dude, it's crazy. It was such a weird scene to watch. I was so confused.
I was so angry.
That Jason has all that energy for Danny, but he wants to suck Jax's dick at every turn.
Yeah.
Sick, dude. What a
fucking loser.
What a bitch boy. Like he looks so fucking soft in this show. And I hope he watches it back and feels that way. Because this was
he said that before when he had beef with Danny, that he wasn't sleeping and he felt so bad. I hope he never sleeps again. I just simply hope that this is what happens. And I hope, and I can hope this as much as I want, that him and Janet get kicked off the show. Jax gets kicked off the show. And then him and Janet can go start a podcast that nobody's going to listen to. And you just move on with your sad fucking lives.
Yep. And keep going after workman's comp people. You fucking dildo. Benji's party. Let's get to Benji's party. And
God, I love Benji. I
do
Benji.
too.
I love Zach.
Boy. Yeah.
God.
Yeah. Did I ever
tell you about the time that I went to this other? Yeah, I knew it.
Oh, it's too good. It's my favorite bit. But at Benji's party, obviously, Janet, Danny, Nia, and Jason are still all at odds. And we find out that the papers are going to be served to Jax very, very soon. And then we find out more evidence as to why Jax is such a giant piece of shit. He hasn't reached out to see Cruz once. He has gotten Botox, gotten a haircut, gone to dinner with all of his friends, and not one time has he asked to see his son. Although he wants to get on screen and fake cry and fake woe is me about the fact that it's so difficult to not see your son for so long. The first thing you do is not go see your son? And you want what? You go get Botox.
You want Brittany to come to you to show you how it works. Your son. Nope, that's not how it works.
Not at all. But Janet and Nia sit down to hash things out. And Nia brings up the Jasmine stuff and says what most logical people would say, what you and I say, what people watching the show say is they talked about this. Janet, they discussed it. They're moving on. Why the fuck do you keep bringing it up? Well, I will be honest because, I did speak negative about Daniel, hated that, behind his back because his actions were horrible. I don't know why you feel the need to keep drawing attention to it. I don't know why you feel the need to keep going after this.
Issue. It's not. It's
Jasmine's. It's Jasmine and Melissa's issue.
I'm sorry that your life is so goddamn boring that you feel like you need to do this as your storyline. This is a reality TV show. You're supposed to show what you're going through. You, Janet. Not other
life's
people.
Miserable and sad. You
Your
don't
life
show
is
that.
Fucking boring as shit. You're a loser.
Yep.
And I saw the scene from next week. Nia bops her too. Yeah, hits her with when they're sitting in the pool, and Janet's like, "Yeah, I had a little too much to drink." She goes, "This early? All right,
yeah." Love that.
Pop her, hit her again. Get her.
Yeah, love that shit. But this is also what happens when we get into shows like this, where we genuinely are upset. We just start being really mean. Like we're really mean to people.
We've called these people like every name in the book at this point, at least like what we can call them on a podcast without getting in trouble.
Yeah,
but
I can't help
I can't help myself. I truly can't help myself. And I just hope for the love of God. I know that Dodie's got a lot going on in this moment in this show, but I hope that she can empower somebody like Nia, because Nia, we've seen her be so nice. I just want her a couple different times to just stand on business. Just
Dodie, teach her the ways.
And Dodie, get involved.
Satisfying.
Get activated. Get after these losers. Get them off your fucking show. This is your show. This isn't Jack's show.
Dodie's show.
Get these fucking dickheads off your show.
I agree. And the way that she talks about Danny, it's like, why are you trying to paint this picture of a father of 3 about to be a father of 4 who seems like a solid guy who made a mistake? Yes. And I'm not taking away from that.
And owned
But
up
he
to it.
talked to the person that he did it to, the people involved, and they're cool with him now. So the fact that she keeps doing stuff like this, and the way she says it is so calculated, goes to a public bar and blacks out and makes women uncomfortable. I'm like, whoa, this is such a bold statement that you're saying on TV that other people are going to watch, and some people are going to believe you. And that's the problem. And then she goes, and he blacked out and he yelled at me. He didn't fucking black out. He didn't black out and he didn't yell at you. You're talking shit and he checked you. That's what happened.
Somebody's not used to getting checked, I guess, because you got such a
She
submissive
should be. Everyone
husband.
else. That's why. You're right.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't hold
my
her
husband's
accountable
too
at
much
all.
of a bitch to ever talk back to me when I'm being an asshole. So
Yeah,
I'm not used to this.
He doesn't have the hard conversations with me because I tell him to go sit in his corner.
Mm-hmm.
But it's crazy, man. And Nia calls it out like you're intentionally trying to paint him in a bad light. And she's like, I'm just bringing the truth. I'm like, you're just gaslighty as fuck and miserable as shit. And you're not even fun. Like, we see a lot of people on shows that are gaslighty and they move in the shadows and they're entertaining. We just did Miami. Look at Larsa Pippen.
Yep.
That's a great example of that.
That's a great example. Yeah, it's the best one that you can come up with.
Yeah, this is not that. You just come off as miserable and unhappy.
Just a fucking loser.
That's all it is. You're just a big, big loser. And then Janet and Jason are both like, they team up and they're just talking shit back and forth. And I wrote down, because I think I figured it out. I think they're bored with each other. I think they hate their lives. And they're like, you know what? If we talk about other people's problems, then
we'll see more interesting. I guarantee you, all they do is sit at home and talk about other people.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
1,000%.
They're just relentless.
You guys have nothing going on in your lives, so you just talk about other people.
Yep.
By the way, who have their lives together, who are progressing through. Danny and Nia having a 4th kid, being a good married couple,
moving into a new house.
Moving into a new house, having those discussions about, do we really want a 4th kid? Yes, let's compromise. We'll figure it out. We're going to have to get a new house. Okay, let's have an adult discussion about this. They're moving how every fucking happy married couple moves. And you guys are miserable watching them do that. And now you're going to take it out on them. So, like, grow up, fucking dorks.
Don't worry, though, because Jax arrives. He's going to save the day. He walks into the house and
talk about making women uncomfortable, by the way. Like, yeah.
Right. Where's this energy for him? You guys are like that sob story he gave you when he FaceTimed and you switched from an iPhone to an Android in the same scene.
Yeah.
You guys are crying along with him. And at the same time, you're trying to make Danny look like a horrible, horrible human being. Make that make sense.
Can't.
But Jax arrives, and I like Schwartz's moment. Hey, for the record, we didn't come here together.
We didn't come together. We might live together right now, but
Yeah, the timing's suspect, but we didn't come together. And the first thing he's doing, no surprise here, is venting about certain things.
Mm-hmm.
He brings up self-care, whatever. He's talking to Dodie, and then he brings up Cruz. We know he hasn't gone to see Cruz or even ask about him yet, so that's bullshit. He keeps emphasizing that drinking's not an issue. It's to tell everybody that the booze isn't a problem. That's a fucking problem. And then he brings up Brittany's party. And Dodie's like, look, she had a moment. She had a moment for a month. Yeah, dude. You know why? Because you've treated her like absolute shit. And then you had to go to a treatment center in which those 30 days are for her to try to get her shit together because of everything that you put her through. And he has the fucking balls to say, I hope she's spending time with Cruz. My guy, you ditched him for 30 days to go hang out in a house that you're claiming is a rehab. And the minute you got home, you got Botox, a haircut, and went out with your boys rather than go see your kid. And you're going to call into question how much time she's spending with your son that you haven't seen? Are you fucking serious?
Absolute scumbag.
Oh, it's so crazy, but it just shows you the guy, he's the exact same as when he went in, and
nothing's changed. I do feel like he's worse. I just think
honestly,
he's worse
because now he has this self-righteous air about him.
He's self-righteous. And he also hasn't had the outlet. His only outlet has been rage texting Brittany, rage texting
Yeah.
anybody who's around her.
And
He
now
hasn't
he's got
been
a
able
lot
to
of
do
years.
anything face to face. He's got energy for this. And I'm
Yeah,
not,
it's
talking about the artificial energy.
some AC.
AE, but yeah.
AE. Well, we get an update from Jesse, Danny, and Nia about what's really going on with Isabella's grandmother. And now we have both sides of it. So I imagine it's somewhere in the middle. Because
as
Jesse's explanation isn't that great either. He's like, I want her to spend as much time as she can with her, like spend the whole time with her. It's just more about we need to talk about death first. I'm like, well, let's not wait too long and death happen.
Yeah.
Because you have a chip on your shoulder about
happened.
this whole thing. I mean, I didn't mean to be insensitive, but like that's my thing here. It's like you're not wrong that a certain conversation needs to happen so she understands a little bit, but at the same
Time
time,
is
the
of the
priority,
essence.
yes, the priority is making sure she sees her grandmother. That's the priority here.
And again, this is one of those situations where like I said, when it comes to those two, the truth is somewhere in the middle, but I find myself leaning towards here's how a normal divorced couple would probably handle it. I'm going to trust that you're going to have a discussion with her, maybe on the way over, about how it works and what goes on with this. You don't have to fucking, like, you're both parents. You're both allowed to have a discussion with Isabella about what you think is right about this. And if there's an issue later, whatever. But at least she has an understanding of how this works from one of her parents before she goes to see the mother. And if you want to put that on Michelle, like, hey, Michelle, just do me a favor, have a discussion with her so that she understands what's going on. Like, I trust that you can do that. That seems sufficient. She's 5 years old. I'm sorry, but like, I do get in the grand scheme of things, like, yes, that is an important discussion to have when you want to do that. But right now, time is of the essence. Her mom is deteriorating at a rapid pace at this point. She's worried that Isabella's not going to get enough time with her. You can't fucking squabble over this. You just simply can't. You guys aren't coming together over the simplest things about what Isabella needs. You're not going to be able to sit down with her and have the, whatever the death equivalent of the birds and the bees is with a 5-year-old and then finally go ahead and do this. Like, it's just not going to work out that way. So just let her go. Like, it doesn't really seem like an issue to me. So at this point, it's like,
it shouldn't
the
be
truth is closer to what Michelle is saying, I think.
Oh yeah. I'm on Michelle's side here for sure, because Jesse just say, okay, like there's nothing else that needs to happen here, but
yeah, bizarre.
I liked Zach and Jax's scene because Zach stands
number one guy in the group. Him and Luke are just, they're tied at this point. This was the only part of the entire episode where I'm like, fuck yeah, get him again.
Yeah, same. Because, he opens it up too with like, hey, for what it's worth, like, I am proud of you, for going through that. And then Jax gives the same exact speech he's given to everybody else, the self-righteous bullshit. And then Zach calls him out for the rage text. He's like, oh, so in between, did you have like an hour break from therapy to send rage texts? And his first response is, she took my son away from me. No, you lost your son.
Yep.
We saw how your son approached you in your own house. He cowered away. That's a you problem, sir. Nobody took him away. Zach keeps going and starts laying out some of the shit he did. He's like, yeah, well, your son was quote unquote taken away because you uncovered cameras at your house on your hour break that you had. You were rage texting her the entire time. And he wants to say, well, we're moving forward. We're not talking about the text 5 years ago. Again, proof that you didn't go to rehab because you have to atone for the things that you've done. You don't get to.
You were in therapy for 7 hours a day. You're talking about shit from 5 years ago. You're talking about shit from 40 years ago.
Oh, he told everyone the same thing. Like, I talked about things I never thought I would talk about. I thought I'd take it to the grave.
Oh God, he's such a dickhead. But I love the way that Zach approached this because, again, he did start it off by saying he was proud, and this is now ball in your court, Jax. Show us that you've changed a little bit. Show us that there's any inkling of a possible future where you're not a complete piece of shit. No, he's just going to be all high and mighty about this. And as soon as you start it up, and no one else really does this, and he's now had this conversation with multiple people, Zach's the only one who stood up and was like, dude, like, are you fucking kidding me? We've been dealing with this. You've been gone for 30 days. You're rage texting your wife. You're making everybody incredibly uncomfortable. Now we're questioning if you even went to rehab. Your rehab hour break where you had your phone and you were able to watch the cameras. Okay. Don't say that about my rehab. It was beautiful. Yeah, I'm sure it was a fucking resort. Like, great. response, Zach. Incredible.
So good.
I'm sure it was a fucking resort is so fucking top notch, just incredible shit. And it triggers Jax. And now it's showing you haven't changed at all, Jax. You're going back and forth here and you're saying that you don't even have time. You know what, by the way? Don't even come to my bar anymore. Like,
You're banned.
Not your bar. You mean Brits? Like,
Yeah.
you mean Brits would have been a fucking great response.
That would have been great. He did
I'm
good
okay
enough.
with he did good enough. I don't want to nitpick poor Zach. He stood up to Jax, which no one else on this cast is really doing. Like, Dodie is a different type of standing up. She speaks her mind, but she also does care for Jax a lot in a weird way. So it's not
known
as
each other for a long time.
It's just not as, palpable. But when it comes to Zach, like, you got no skin in the game, brother. Go again. Hit him again. Get him.
He did. It was great. Like, at the camera comment, his response to that was, it's my house. I don't want other men in my house while my son's there. It's like, you motherfucker, you were traipsing around OnlyFans models at your house. Yeah. So what are you talking about?
Yep.
Anyway.
God. But that comment at the very end, really fucked him up, though, because Jax immediately starts talking about how it's his show. By the way, my show, not your show. It's not your show anymore, actually. I mean, weirdly it is, because Bravo keeps putting you on a fucking pedestal.
It's not his show.
It's not. No one's tuning in to watch you anymore. We're tuning in to watch the people that we do like, which is Zach. So it is actually arguably more Zach's show than it is your show right now, brother. And I love Zach's fucking ending comment. Not for the last 30 days, it wasn't. Boom. Jax goes into a spiral. And we haven't seen this in a while. This isn't like a rage spiral. This isn't a Brittany got under my skin and she's the only one who's able to get under my skin. And now I'm going through all of this and I'm just going to fucking rage out. This was a fuck. Like,
I can't respond.
I can't respond. I don't have a response to that.
I mean, it was the perfect 1-2 punch, because when he brings up the bar and kicking him out, he's like, oh, your bar that you paid for with Brittany's money? Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. And that sent him into this whole tizzy about the show and all that. It was just great. It was top-notch shade. Zach,
great work, well done. Zach.
Well done, sir. But Jax and Jason are at Jax's house, moving his shit out. Schwartz ends up joining as well. And he tries to get the sympathy. He's like, I still haven't seen my son. It's like, you haven't tried to see your son. He's like, I've done all she asked and I'm still being punished. No, dude, no. You caused all of these things. So you have to take accountability and you have to work through them and you have to bend the knee and apologize. It's not the other way around. You're not being punished by other people. You're punishing yourself. It's all so frustrating to me, having gone through this process and dedicating my life to this process, and then see somebody like this belittle the whole process by speaking on things he doesn't know and doesn't understand and claiming that he's gone through it. It's so fucking annoying to me. But this is when I lose all respect, or more respect, for Jason, because Jason's like, well, hey, Brittany texted me about the computer because she wants it back.
Yeah.
That would have been enough. Telling Jax, because all of her accounts are logged in, you're telling a sociopath that he can go check in on everything his ex has been doing.
Yep.
Like little stuff like that. I'm like, why would you say that part, Jason?
She wants you to give the key back. She wants you to log out of the cameras so you can stop fucking stalking her. He's not going to.
No, he won't. Absolutely not. And he wants to use this as an ultimatum. Not until I see Cruz. And thank God, Schwartz and Jason were like, I don't think that's a good idea. Like, you probably shouldn't do that. And then he says, I haven't done anything. It's like, what? What are you talking about? I hate it. I hated it all so much. It was such a frustrating scene. But Brittany returns to the house and, the cameras are uncovered. Of course, Jax took off all the Post-it notes so you can see in the house again. And watching her work through it, obviously, there's a lot of emotion in this, so she's getting kind of upset. But I like that she was actually watching this whole thing on the cameras. I think that's funny. It's like a full circle moment where it's like, I was spying on him. That stupid fuck.
Perfect.
But we do get one wonderful little nugget out of this episode. Yeah. We got to find out about Jax's burner account. And that is just amazing. And his name is Frank Drebin.
Which, not to be confused with Frank Drebin from Naked Gun.
Yeah, Frank Drebin. Wow, we have 2 Naked Gun references there. We said
I
this
well,
list
that's
earlier.
yeah. Naked Gun was to be fair. Naked Gun was on my mind because there's a new one coming out with
Oh yeah, I saw that.
with Liam Neeson. Similar name, kind of weird.
That is interesting. Leslie
Um,
Nielsen, Liam Neeson.
oh,
Liam
it's kind of
Neeson's
odd.
though?
Yeah, Liam Neeson. You didn't know
Liam
that?
Neeson stuff? It's from Key and Peele.
Oh, damn, that's good. But yeah, Frank Drebin, which of course he told Brittany about, probably doesn't remember telling her about it, to go on, and he just likes to go on there and just look at stuff, whatever the fuck that means. That sounded so creepy that he made
Yeah,
a
'cause
burner
it's
account. He didn't make the burner account to defend himself. He made the burner account to go look at stuff. What does
And
that mean?
you know what that means. You know exactly what that means.
He's fucking
He's looking
spying on
at
people and
he's
looking at fucking OnlyFans models.
exactly. But he also goes on his posts and comments things like Jax Taylor gets out of rehab. He's a legend, Frank Drebin. What a loser.
Yeah.
Dude, like it's just
It's unreal.
the best part is that he DM'd Brittany from the burner account. That's how dumb
asking
he
her to
is.
call him back. Answer the phone. I
Please,
answered the
yeah,
phone
answer
for
the phone.
you.
I did it. Yeah. Oh my God. It's just incredible. But
God,
let's
dude.
check in with Danny and Nia. I mean, I love these two. I love Nia. She's awesome. The fact that she is not more adamant about moving into a bigger house before the 4th kid is that kid sleeps in a crib with a tent over it. That shit was
Like, it is so funny because every time that we go to their house, I get like agita where I'm like, you've got stuff everywhere. You
I
guys
get, like,
need a bigger
claustrophobic.
space. I'm like, please, for the love of God. Like, I do think that if you had a bigger house, it would look really, really nice because I think you guys would be on top of it.
I'm
because
sure they
you're
have great
normal
style
people.
and they're cleaning
I
all
think
of
you've
those
got
things.
great style and you've got good stuff. It's just, it's everywhere. Like,
I don't
you guys
knock them. I'm not knocking them. I get it. Like, it's
I do
crazy
get it.
time.
Like, you want to stay close to your friends. It's a crazy time for the housing market.
No. I'm not
get it.
knocking them for the state of the apartment.
Oh,
Like, I
mean,
understand why it's so messy.
I don't think that they can do anything about it.
No,
Like,
there's nothing they could do about it.
You guys are bursting at the seams with stuff for your 3 kids under 3, and
Yep.
like you said, the one kid's sleeping in a tent. Like, what's going on?
He's in a crib, but the tent.
I know
it's
he's in a
smart.
crib. Yeah,
It's a smart idea, by the way, to keep it dark. I actually like
it
that.
looks so messy.
But it's such a funny peek into their life because they get the kid in the crib finally. They're both sitting like, whew, everyone's asleep. And then one of the kids comes out holding a tree. And
Yep.
it's like, that's their life. And they both laugh. They seem like great parents. It's just such a funny moment. But we get to find out about the timeline a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Nia went to Dr. Alexander. Her uterus looks great. So that's awesome to hear, especially considering that she had a journey earlier on about whether or not she could get pregnant. So that's exciting. And she's like, look, I want to do this because we heard what she said prior. She wants to, get a mommy makeover, start feeling like herself again, but she doesn't want to do that until they're done having kids. And she also doesn't want to wait till she's older to have kids. She wants to do it now. So we get a 1-year ultimatum, which I think is fair. I think
it's very fair. And they think it's fair, which is more important than all of this.
That's the only thing that matters.
That it is fair. And they agree. We'll table this discussion. We've got a year to figure it out. And within a year, we will make a decision on that. We'll make a decision on a bigger house. And we'll see how it goes.
Perfect.
Everything's going to work out great. Love it.
Sounds like a good move to me.
And it did work out for them, as we know.
It sure did.
God, I'm so happy for them.
On all fronts. New house and a new kid. 4 under 4 now. But Luke stops in. They're planning, obviously, the engagement trip to Maui. And Nia and Danny are going to step in and be the fake front to get everybody there. So it's nice to see everybody come together and do all that shit. Now let's get to Jax's condo so we can move the fuck on from this episode.
God, yeah.
What he says tells you exactly who he is and what he wants. Because this, according to him, is his dream scenario to live next to Tom Schwartz. If you added Tom Sandoval into the mix, it would literally be his dream scenario. He wants to live like he's back in his 20s on VPR. That's the goal.
Sandoval's dad in there too. I know.
Yeah, that's that sad show that we talked about.
That was
getting all the sad people together. Yeah. But he gets served and he thinks it's for the podcast.
No, he doesn't. He knows what it is. He was saving dude, he knew exactly what it was.
I thought he was dumb. And it was
you
like,
know what he did?
Podcast.
He did the I'm so embarrassed and I don't want this this guy who just served me to know that I'm getting a divorce. Oh yeah, this is for my podcast.
Oh, that's fair. I think you're right.
He knew
You're
what it
definitely
was
right.
because as soon as he took it out, like you could see fucking Schwartz. Schwartz got like war flashbacks. Like, oh,
Well, because he was like, "Oh, there's divorce papers." And he's like, "I was joking." Oh shit, I was joking. Oh, they
fuck.
really are divorce papers. Oh boy. Oh boy.
I
He
don't even
reads
think
through it.
Schwartz. I don't think that Schwartz was joking. I mean, we've got that theory that Schwartz just acts like a fucking idiot, but
Yeah,
he's actually really smart.
He knows what's
I
going
don't
on.
even think he was joking there.
Probably not. But he's reading through this whole thing, and it's going to be done expeditiously out of court, which are good things when it comes to a divorce, usually. And
Yeah.
Schwartz keeps reading through. We get to the custody agreement. And this dumb fuck doesn't know what full legal custody means. It means that she has full custody of your child.
Yep.
I don't know what the visitation is in there. I don't know what it breaks down to, but that's what that means. And he goes, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what that means. It's like, well, one, Google it, bitch. What? You have your phone in your hand.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
He strikes me as a guy that says, "Oh, this piece of paper isn't going to stand between me and my son." Cops will. I'll tell you that much.
Yep, and I hope they do. But this is when he starts to play the "woe is me" card again, because it starts breaking online that this is happening, that he got served papers, and he's like, imagine coming out of rehab and getting served. It's like, shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up. Because again, this is what happens after you leave. You have to deal with the ramifications of all of your actions, much like this. And the way that he's trying to paint this by saying things like, we bring out the worst in each other, this, that, the other. He's trying to make this mutual destruction. He's trying to place as much blame on Brittany as himself, which is ludicrous. You suck, sir. You suck balls.
God.
Let's do questions.
Let's move on with our lives.
Stupid ass show. Stupid ass person. Fucking bringing down my vibe and shit.
From Rachel Ray, is it bad that I don't believe he's sober? No.
No.
Jax.
Not at all.
Rach Stang, do you believe this is Jax's last season on Bravo? Boy, do I hope so.
It needs to be, man. It really, really needs to be.
Holy shit, there's so many fucking questions.
I know.
All you people watch the show? Oh, God. What are we doing? What are we all doing collectively?
That's a good question. This is a good one from Robert Taylor, writer of stuff. I bet that guy writes stuff. Why? Just why? I don't know. I truly don't know. There's a lot of support for Zach in here. A lot of people tooting his horn as they should. Let's see what else.
From our fucking great boyfriend. Wow, that came out so weird. Sorry for that, but I don't care. From Billy Big Deals, our homie. I'm done watching, boys.
No. You can't backtrack now. It's our great boyfriend.
Yeah, he's our boyfriend. Yeah.
Our great boyfriend, according to you.
Our great boyfriend. Billy said, I'm done watching, boys. I'll still listen to your recast, but can't hear Jax's bullshit anymore. Also, fuck Janet and Jason.
We get it.
Yeah, we're at that point, Billy, where we're going to keep going, but, you guys might just have to listen.
From C. Wright Fam 6, just me, or was this one of the worst episodes of reality TV? That's what I said when we started.
You're not alone. I turned it off multiple times.
This is interesting. From Jamie and Go. Do you think Jax will stay on the BravoCon lineup?
Oof.
That'd be ballsy as shit.
I think they're going to keep him, honestly. From Ryan Stoneman. Did Jax just make up the sober number on Watch What Happens Live? It looked like he did. He said 201 days, and then Schwartz just kind of looked away. I think he just made that up on the spot, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I do have to say we got a lot of messages, and I'm assuming from our members. Ryan Stoneman got a question on Watch What Happens Live.
Oh yeah,
and a bunch of our members were shouting him out in our DM. So Ryan, you've taken on a persona, pal.
Good job, Ryan.
Let's see. Oh, that's interesting. From It's Sin. Steele, can you compare and contrast your first day out of rehab compared to Jackson's? You want to hear about my first day out of rehab? My mom picked me up from Karen, which is in PA, and drove me home. I didn't talk much on the way home. I remember distinctly staring out the window, and when we got back, I was the most lost I think I've ever been in my life. I felt good, and I felt prepared, and I was ready to take it on, but it was a very daunting experience. I didn't know who I could talk to, like my friends. I didn't know how I wanted to approach it, whether I wanted people to know I was out of rehab or not. And I just remember being really, really nervous about my future and being very apprehensive about what my next steps were, and also figuring out what those steps were going to be. But I do distinctly remember just the nerves. I really remember being nervous. And I remember walking into my house, my parents' house, and they were both skeptical, understandably so, but they obviously had booze in the house. And so I could feel them kind of watching me walk near those things. That sucked. And again, just to paint the perfect picture, before I was in rehab, I had a kid. I was married. I had a career in professional baseball. I had all the grown-up stuff. And when I left rehab, I was going through a divorce, hadn't seen my child in a long time, lost my career and job. I moved out of my parents' house when I was 18 years old. And the first time I ever moved back in is when I was 28 with all of this going on. So it wasn't great, but it led to where I am today, and I'm grateful for it. That's my first day out of rehab. Good question.
Very, very different from Jax's first day. Let's say that.
Yeah. You think? Let's do like two more.
Yeah, I'll do Kylie Mahala said, only watching for Kristen and Luke right now. Are you excited for their proposal? I'm very excited.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
Love them so much.
From
Siobhan B. Ham, why are y'all still watching?
Because we have to. We don't have a choice. You guys have the choice,
Siobhan.
And then the problem is, even when we get comments from people that they're not watching, they follow it up with, "But I'm still listening to your recaps." So
we have a job.
We got a job.
Everybody at some point hates their job. We love our job for the most part, but
we hate the fucking valley.
We hate the fucking valley. We hate Jax. We hate Janet and Jason.
We will never stop because loving of all of you.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, that works too. We love you, therefore we won't stop. But yeah, I'm tired, Grandpa.
I feel so much better. Just we're done with this episode.
I know, but guess what? It's back next week.
I hope it doesn't get worse. I don't think I can handle it.
We will find out. Time will tell. But you got anything else?
Nope.
That's our show. These bros gotta go.